Hello, this is Roger Bailey of Developmental Discovery. As part of our consulting business, specializing in the developmental process, Isabel and I needed a method of demonstrating developmental progress over time. The result is our free developmental checklist. Our clients use it to track their children's movement through the developmental stages. It is useful for parents of children with developmental difficulties to see and understand their children's developmental progress. It's also appropriate for all parents to understand and track their children's developmental progress, whatever the situation. So we have made our checklist freely available. When we began consulting with parents about their children's movement through the developmental stages, we discovered that many parents did not understand much about the developmental process. Families would tell us stories about what their child did new this week, but they had little understanding that their child was providing rich information about the developmental task on which the child was working. We needed something that helped parents understand the developmental process. We needed something that guided parents to watch for important developmental signals, and we needed something that would quantify a child's developmental progress. We tried several forms, looking for something that was appropriate for parents and caregivers, ourselves and other service providers who work with the children. We wanted to provide an alternative to the labeling game. We wanted our report to provide an overview. We wanted a better way of describing the child's developmental progress, and we wanted to provide information more meaningful than developmental age. What are the developmental steps used to decide the age of a child? Would we use walking or talking? Would we use gross motor, fine motor, social, emotional, or sensory developmental tasks? Which of these steps is best at showing the child's age? If we're only showing some narrow, limited set of developmental steps to define the developmental age of a child, we might miss important progress. In a month where a child might not make any progress in the steps used to define the age, they might make a lot of progress in other developmental tasks. In our program, clients fill in the gaps in their developmental process. When we reported to the parents the status of the child's developmental progress, we wanted to give a visual representation of that broad spectrum of developmental improvement. We also wanted to give them the details. Sometimes parents focus on some developmental outcome that is at the end of a long progression of developmental tasks. Because they're only focused on the end point, they miss all of the rich developmental progress the child is making. Our visual overview provides a method for seeing that broad spectrum of developmental progress. It shows the current state of the child's movement through developmental stages and across the stages. It also shows any of the developmental warning signs the parents have been able to identify. Our report also shows how the parent responded to each of the checklist line items in each of the stages. Our software keeps track of these line item specifics for each child, so the next time, the parent can concentrate only on identifying the changes since the last time they did the checklist. We designed the checklist report to be useful for medical, psychological, behavioral, and educational service providers. They will all find the reports appropriate for tracking a child's movement through the developmental stages. This is all available to you on our free membership site, developmentaldiscovery.com.